The moment you hear Yolanda Adams' name, a smile comes to any gospel fan's face. But today was different. For months, everyone was wondering, would Yolanda ever break her silence? Every interview, every social media post left fans asking the same question. What will Yolanda say? And then finally she spoke. Her words carried not just a response, but a truth that no one could have expected. Today we're going to tell you the story of how Yolanda Adams finally broke her silence and what Shirley Caesar's response really meant. To truly understand why Yolanda Adams' response is such a big deal, we need to go back and look at the story behind it. Yolanda Adams is one of the most respected voices in gospel music. Her songs have inspired millions, and she is known not just for her powerful voice, but for the heart and sincerity she brings to every performance. Shirley Caesar, on the other hand, is a living legend in the gospel world. Known as the First Lady of Gospel, she has spent decades shaping the industry and mentoring younger artists. Recently, a moment between these two stars stirred up a lot of attention. In a fictional turn of events, Shirley Caesar made a statement during an interview that fans took as advice, or maybe even a gentle critique toward Yolanda. It wasn't mean-spirited, but in the world of gospel music, every word can be dissected and discussed endlessly. For weeks, fans speculated about how Yolanda would respond. Some expected a public statement, while others thought she might stay silent forever. This buildup, this mix of respect, tension, and curiosity, set the stage for what was about to happen next. After Shirley Caesar's statement, the gospel world went quiet, but only on the surface. Fans, social media followers, and even fellow artists couldn't stop talking. Every post, every comment seemed to ask the same question. Will Yolanda respond? The silence from Yolanda was powerful in itself. Some interpreted it as thoughtful reflection, while others feared it might mean tension between the two gospel icons. Rumors began to swirl, some claiming there had been a disagreement behind the scenes, others suggesting that Yolanda was planning something big, waiting for the perfect moment to speak. This period of waiting created a storm of anticipation. Social media was filled with speculation, interviews subtly hinting at the issue, and fans sharing their own theories. The silence made Yolanda's eventual response feel like a headline everyone was holding their breath for. It was as if the gospel community collectively leaned in, waiting for her voice to break the quiet and finally tell her side of the story. The tension built with each passing day, making her eventual statement feel not just important, but inevitable. After Shirley Caesar's statement, the gospel world seemed to hold its breath. Yolanda Adams remained silent, and that silence spoke louder than words ever could. Fans, social, media followers, and even fellow artists couldn't stop wondering what she thought. Every post, every interview, every subtle hint from insiders became fuel for discussion. Some fans speculated that Yolanda was carefully crafting her response, wanting to say exactly the right thing without sparking controversy. Others whispered rumors about tension behind the scenes, imagining disagreements or differing visions between two of gospel music's most beloved figures. The waiting period turned into a public spectacle of sorts. Fans dissected old interviews, comparing tone and word choice, while YouTube videos and comment sections buzzed with theories. Some supporters worried that Yolanda might ignore the situation altogether, while others were certain she would soon speak her truth in a way only she could. Even radio hosts and gospel blogs joined the conversation, debating what her silence could mean and how it would affect the gospel community. In truth, this period of silence gave the story its emotional weight. It was no longer just about a response. It became a story about respect, patience, and the power of words. The tension created anticipation that was almost tangible. Every fan, whether casual or devoted, was waiting for the moment Yolanda would finally break her silence. And when she did, it promised to be a statement that everyone would remember. The air was thick with expectation, and in that quiet, her voice gained a significance that no ordinary response could wear. After weeks of silence from Yolanda Adams, Shirley Caesar's response added a new layer to the story. In this fictional scenario, Shirley chose a calm and thoughtful approach. She acknowledged the curiosity and speculation surrounding the situation, but framed her message around respect and encouragement. Her words were gentle yet firm, showing that she valued her relationship with Yolanda and the influence both of them had in the gospel world. Shirley's statement emphasized unity and understanding rather than drama. She spoke about the importance of taking time to reflect before responding and reminded fans that every artist has their own journey. Even though some fans interpreted her words as a subtle nudge for Yolanda to speak up, the truth in Shirley's response was more heartfelt. She genuinely wanted to maintain harmony while allowing Yolanda to express herself in her own time. The reaction to Shirley's message was immediate. Fans praised her for being wise and patient, while others speculated on how Yolanda would react. Her words set the stage perfectly, creating a space for Yolanda's eventual response to be not defensive, but reflective, thoughtful, and meaningful. Shirley's response, fictional or not, highlighted the respect between two legends and reminded everyone that even in moments of tension, grace and professionalism could shine through. Finally, the moment everyone had been waiting for arrived. Yolanda Adams decided to speak, and the world listened. In this fictional account, she began by acknowledging Shirley Caesar's response, expressing gratitude for the wisdom, patience, and kindness in Shirley's words. Her tone was calm, sincere, and heartfelt, showing that her silence had not been avoidance, but careful reflection. Yolanda spoke about her own journey and the importance of staying true to herself. She shared that in moments like these, emotions run deep, and sometimes silence is necessary to understand the bigger picture. She reassured fans that there was no conflict, no hard feelings, just a need for perspective and careful thought before addressing the topic publicly. Yolanda's words were both personal and relatable, showing that even someone as accomplished as her navigates moments of uncertainty, reflection, and growth. She also reflected on the lessons learned during this time, lessons about humility, communication, and respect. Yolanda's response carried a tone of unity, emphasizing that differences in opinion or approach do not have to divide, and that understanding and patience can strengthen bonds rather than weaken them. Fans felt her honesty and appreciated her willingness to share her thoughts openly, making her response not just an answer to Shirley Caesar, but a statement about grace, professionalism, and emotional intelligence. By the end of her statement, it was clear that her silence had not been empty. It had been a space for reflection, for understanding, and for creating a response that was meaningful, respectful, and memorable. This fictional moment showcased Yolanda Adams not just as a powerful voice in gospel music, but as a thoughtful and authentic human being, capable of turning speculation and tension into clarity and inspiration. Yolanda Adams decided it was time to speak. The moment carried the weight of months, and fans were eager to hear her perspective. She began her statement with gratitude, acknowledging Shirley Caesar's thoughtful response. In her words, there was no defensiveness or drama, only respect and appreciation. She expressed that Shirley's words had given her time and space to reflect, which she deeply valued. From the very first sentence, it was clear that her silence had not been avoidance, but a conscious decision to consider her words carefully and respond in a meaningful way. Yolanda shared insights about her own journey, opening up about moments of doubt, reflection, and growth. She spoke about the pressure of being a public figure, the expectations from fans, and the weight of speaking after a silence. She admitted that sometimes, even as someone who is strong and accomplished, emotions can be overwhelming, and taking time to process them is not a weakness, but a strength. Her honesty resonated with people immediately. It felt human and relatable, showing that even icons face moments where thoughtfulness must precede action. Then she addressed the underlying topic indirectly, carefully clarifying her intentions. Yolanda emphasized that there had been no conflict, no bitterness, only a need to ensure her response came from a place of truth and authenticity. She reflected on the lessons she had learned during this period of anticipation, the importance of patience, the power of reflection, and the value of understanding others before speaking. Her message highlighted the idea that even in moments of tension or misunderstanding, grace and communication can turn uncertainty into growth. Fans, social media followers, and fellow artists immediately recognized the sincerity in her words. Her response was thoughtful, eloquent, and grounded, but it never felt rehearsed. It felt like Yolanda herself speaking from her heart. She concluded by emphasizing unity and mutual respect, reminding everyone that differences in opinion or perspective do not have to divide, but can strengthen connections when handled with care and honesty. By the end of her statement, it was clear that Yolanda's silence had not been empty. It had been a period of reflection, a time to process emotions and consider the bigger picture, resulting in a response that was calm, clear, and inspiring. In this fictional scenario, Yolanda Adams emerged not only as a legendary voice in gospel music, but as a deeply thoughtful, authentic, and emotionally intelligent person. A reminder that the strongest voices are often those that choose to listen before speaking. The moment Yolanda Adams' statement was shared, the response was immediate and overwhelming. Fans flooded social media with messages of support, relief, and admiration. Posts and tweets poured in, expressing how much they appreciated her honesty and the calm, thoughtful way she had handled the situation. Comments ranged from simple praise like, "Yolanda, you are a queen," to more reflective messages. Her words remind us all how important it is to pause, reflect, and respond with grace. Even those who had speculated about conflict admitted that her response had completely shifted their perspective. Fellow gospel artists and influencers also joined the conversation, publicly sharing their respect for Yolanda. Many highlighted her professionalism and emotional intelligence, noting that not every artist could respond to such speculation with such clarity and poise. Some shared personal stories of times when they had to pause before speaking, drawing parallels to Yolanda's approach. In this fictional scenario, the gospel community collectively celebrated her ability to turn a tense situation into a lesson in respect and reflection. The reaction went beyond social media. Gospel blogs, podcasts, and online forums dissected her words, praising her for addressing the topic without creating drama, yet making her feelings and perspective clear. Fans commented on how relatable and human she sounded, and many admitted they had learned something from her response about patience, humility, and the importance of thoughtful communication. In short, her silence, reflection, and eventual response had not only answered the speculation but had strengthened her reputation as a wise, thoughtful, and inspiring figure in the gospel world. By the end of the day, hashtags celebrating her words began trending. Messages of encouragement and respect circulated widely, and even casual listeners who might not follow gospel music closely acknowledged the impact of her statement. In this fictional story, Yolanda Adams' response became more than just a reply. It became a moment of connection, inspiration, and reflection for an entire community, proving the power of patience, authenticity, and grace. In the end, this story isn't just about speculation, silence, or a response. It's about respect, reflection, and the power of thoughtful communication. Yolanda Adams' decision to pause, reflect, and then speak showed the world that sometimes silence is not weakness, but strength. Her words reminded fans and fellow artists alike that taking the time to process emotions and consider your message carefully can turn tension into understanding and rumors into lessons. This fictional scenario also highlights the respect between two gospel legends. Shirley Caesar's response created space for understanding, while Yolanda's reply demonstrated emotional intelligence and grace. Together, their interaction became more than just a public statement. It became a story about how professionalism, patience, and authenticity can inspire an entire community. Ultimately, this story leaves a clear takeaway. Communication handled with honesty and respect has the power to unite, inspire, and transform. Yolanda Adams' fictional journey from silence to a heartfelt response shows that the strongest voices are those that choose not to speak first, but to listen, reflect, and respond with intention. It's a reminder that even in moments of tension or uncertainty, clarity, empathy, and grace can create a lasting impact that goes far beyond the headlines. This story is about far more than just a public statement or a moment of speculation. It is about the power of reflection, respect, and thoughtful communication. Yolanda Adams' decision to remain silent for weeks was not an act of avoidance, but a conscious choice to understand her own feelings, assess the situation, and ensure that her response would be meaningful and authentic. In a world where public figures are often expected to react immediately, her patience showed remarkable emotional intelligence and maturity. It reminded fans that sometimes the strongest action is to pause, listen, and reflect before speaking. This fictional scenario also highlights the importance of relationships built on respect. Shirley Caesar's response was not confrontational. Instead, it was thoughtful, gentle, and encouraging. By offering guidance while giving Yolanda space, Shirley modeled the kind of grace and wisdom that comes from decades of experience. Yolanda's eventual reply, calm and heartfelt, not only honored Shirley's message, but also demonstrated that clarity and understanding can replace tension and speculation. Together, their interaction became a story of mentorship, mutual respect, and the power of patience in maintaining harmony, even in situations that could easily become misunderstood or sensationalized. The impact of this story extends beyond the personal exchange between two artists. It serves as a reminder to everyone, fans, creators, and leaders alike, that honesty, empathy, and deliberate communication can inspire and unite. Yolanda's fictional journey from silence to speaking her truth encourages people to value thoughtful responses over impulsive reactions, and to recognize that true influence comes not from speaking first, but from speaking meaningfully. Her words, reflective and authentic, offer a lesson that resonates far beyond gospel music, that grace, patience, and understanding have the power to transform tension into connection, rumors into clarity, and silence into strength. In the end, what makes this fictional story memorable is the way it turns a moment of anticipation into a lesson on character and professionalism. Yolanda Adams, through her silence and her eventual words, showed that integrity and authenticity will always shine brighter than gossip or speculation. It is a story that reassures fans and viewers that even in times of uncertainty, taking the time to think, reflect, and respond thoughtfully can leave a lasting, positive impact on everyone involved. It reminded fans and viewers that sometimes the strongest and most impactful voices are the ones that choose to pause and listen before speaking. This fictional exchange also highlights the strength of relationships grounded in respect. Shirley Caesar's response, calm and encouraging, demonstrated that true influence often comes from guidance and support rather than confrontation. By giving Yolanda space to reflect while offering words of insight, Shirley modeled grace, mentorship, and understanding, the qualities that have earned her legendary respect over decades. Yolanda's eventual response honored that space and wisdom, creating a dialogue not defined by drama or gossip, but by authenticity, respect, and clarity. Together, they showcased how two strong, successful artists can navigate tension thoughtfully, leaving a legacy of professionalism and emotional maturity for fans and the industry alike. The impact of this story goes beyond the interaction between two gospel icons. It serves as a universal lesson about communication, patience, and integrity. Yolanda's journey from silence to speaking her truth encourages all of us to value reflection over reaction, empathy over assumption, and clarity over chaos. Her response shows that taking time to process emotions, consider perspectives, and respond with honesty can transform misunderstandings into moments of connection, strengthen relationships, and inspire others to act with similar care. This story also reminds us that silence is not emptiness. It can be a space for understanding, growth, and preparation. Yolanda's careful and thoughtful words transformed anticipation into inspiration, demonstrating that true leadership and influence are rooted in authenticity and intentionality. By the end of this fictional scenario, it becomes clear that the most memorable voices are not just those that are heard, but those that are felt. Voices that carry wisdom, integrity, and the courage to speak from the heart.